Happy Pride Month.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
I
I
love the leaf.
thank you. I feel like I'm answering the phones for some kind of like secret movement.
Mm.
Which hey, I might be doing soon if this whole thing goes south, you know what I mean?
I
Ooh.
love it. Well, I'm serving stuck in traffic in a hoodie. So feeling really sexy. Let's see if I can take the hood off if it gives a little more. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Who is
Girl.
she?
Girl, that was
Cozy.
like essentially taking off your motorcycle helmet. You know that moment
Oh my
where
God,
the
yes. Remember
shake?
when
We
I
all
had
know the
like
shake.
I had to host a burlesque show and you like gave me a scarf. It was like at Victory's. And you gave me a scarf to take off, and in taking it off for burlesque music to kill time, I pulled a muscle in my neck.
No.
And I was like, I don't know how you ladies do it.
I don't know how you ladies do it with a lot of practice and a lot of icy hot.
Cheers, queers.
So
Happy
you do.
Pride.
Cheers. I don't have anything to cheers you with because I spent all of my spare time putting on this face.
And it's
Um,
worth it.
I thank you. I didn't even grab a fan. Broke my own cardinal rule. I packed out without a fan.
Girl. And in June?
And in June, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like this face is my ID. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, you're serving face card. You're doing fine.
I'm serving face. Do you want to see the whole outfit?
Yes.
We haven't had a stand in a while because I've
Girl,
just been
I
because I've just
understand.
been rolling up whatever I came from work in. But I want to tell you that I'm wearing this cute little like Natasha cat suit.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yes. The
Yeah,
silhouette.
have a
Yes.
sit and a stand. It tends to the legs tend to work their way up a little bit, so there's a little bit of like adjustment that has to happen, but that's kind of sexy, right?
I love it. Is the belt attached?
No, it's separate, but it's a self belt. It's the same material.
Oh, that looks amazing. I love the neckline.
Yeah, nice high mock neck.
Yeah, and those shoulders. Girl, that cut is, I love that cut.
It's very fun. You can't see it, but there's some detail seams that go across the bodice, so it adds a little bit of interest. But it's oh, there you can see them. See those?
Wow. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like those.
We're featuring.
I love it. So, where did you get this little number, this little hot dip?
Well, I bet you would guess that I got this from Shakti, but in this case, you would be wrong.
Well, it doesn't have pockets, so I wasn't sure if it
It
was going to
doesn't
be.
have pockets. I
But you could just.
mean, yeah. I mean, 1 in 20 of their designs doesn't have pockets anyway, but I got this from a website called El Rebel, and they sell a couple different lines, and I think this one um, was from I don't remember. That's okay, but that's the website I got it from. It was very cute. They have a lot of like retro golden age of Hollywood starlet kind of outfits. And
Ooh.
this is actually one of the more understated of their designs, but I really wanted to feature the face.
Yes. So, you didn't want anything to pull from the face.
No, except for this brooch. And let's be honest, she can't compete.
Let me see her.
She's kind of cute though, right?
She
Mm-hmm.
is cute. Where did you get that?
I think Etsy.
Yeah, it's cute.
I'm a
Oh, yeah.
sucker for a matching set. And for
Mm.
you costume jewelry enthusiasts at home, they are Trifari.
Stop me. I don't
There
anymore.
you go. And everyone's left the chat.
Yes. These are the H&M hoops I bought in 2006 for
Fabulous.
$4 that are disgusting, and I need to throw them out and get real ones. Well, not real ones, but new ones. And I painted my nails like pale pink, and I don't know what I was doing.
Oh, cute. Well, listen, great. You know what? In this fidelity, they look great. No one will ever know. I'm actually counting on it with the texture of this hair.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I love it. I love what your hair is doing lately.
Thanks. It's got a lot of dry shampoo on it, so I can like push it into a shape and it'll kind of stay there.
Oh, that's fun.
So we've kind of swept it to the sides for this evening.
Yes. Girl, what are we dishing on tonight besides that outfit?
Tonight, I know we just talked about this for half an hour. We are scheduled to talk about freedom. hmm And I think that we should think about all of the different contexts, going all the way up from personal freedom. You know, if you're in any kind of marginalized status of personhood, there's a lot of like reprogramming that you have to do to get out from internalized misogyny or homophobia or transphobia or racism or all of those things, right? So there's that. You and I were just talking about it. What was that Bob Marley quote that you told me?
Oh my gosh, I did quote Bob Marley.
You did. You did. I've been talking about that ever since.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, obviously it was particularly in the movement of like liberation, right? In that terms, but um, the concept of like mental chains, right? And like what we hold ourselves to. We're specifically talking about Black liberation in that situation. And one of the challenges we have in the LGBTQ community is we often equate the LGBTQ struggle with the Black American struggle, and that's not what we're doing here. But one of the reasons I love the concept of like mental chains is sometimes I get into conversations, especially with LGBTQ folks who get caught in like an eddy, like in this like whirlpool of this is what happened to me. And sometimes it goes internal and they implode, and sometimes they trauma dump and whatever the thing is, right? And it's just like, okay, and now. Like, right? And it's this like, they're almost held back by the past movement and the failings or the struggles or the conflicts, and they can't actually move forward. And I think we're seeing that a lot in the LGBTQ community around the trans movement. Like, this is not the time for cis folks to be like, this is what we should be doing. Like, this is the time for trans and non-binary folks to tell us what we should be doing, and then us to lift and do the burden. And like lift the burden of the work, the majority as best we can off trans people and trans people of color. And I think like it's just really difficult for cis queer folks right now and gay folks right now to kind of step out of their own shit and like literally help them understand the level of power, the levers of power they wield. And I think that's like where I guess freedom comes for my queerness and my queer story is like, I don't, I think part of the freedom is recognizing the privilege you have and then figuring out how to like bring a ladder and bring folks up and in to the space of power as best you can. So I think there's like, that's connected to freedom, but the mental chains concept is, well, it's a Bob Marleyism. So big Bob Marley fans in this house. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean,
what have you been thinking about? So we talked about it like we talked about it yesterday, didn't we?
Well, or whenever I guess it was yesterday because we didn't have our planning call on Sundays. Sometimes we do it on Mondays. But yeah, we did. But we plan, everyone, just so you know.
We have quarterly planning meetings. Advertising is very upset with us right now.
We do, and it's charts and graphs. I wouldn't conduct a meeting without at least one chart or graph. Could be one or the other. Oopsie koopsie.
I just drink pens on the planning calls. But anyways, what do you think about the concept? Because I do think it gets, I'm not saying just gay cis folks. I think it happens to trans folks too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking a lot about the concurrent work that's really hard to do, your own work of self-liberation and reprogramming of all the stuff that you collected during your socialization, and also do the work with your immediate social networks, and then the work in the organizations you exist in, and then the greater work of changing like national and international systems through civic engagement. And it feels really daunting to try to do all that work at the same time. But the good news is that you don't have to, well, there's two things. First of all, you don't have to do it all at the same time. And the second one is by doing one of the work, you are actually intrinsically connecting to all of the other levels of the work, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. If I'm deprogramming my own shit and broadening my perspective to include other people that have experiences that I don't have, right? Like people that I don't necessarily understand, I'm also building through my subsequent actions will be different because my perspective has changed slightly. And therefore I'm contributing to the work of building the world where we're all free.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I'm doing it right. And I'm not here to take a position on what is right and wrong in terms of the work. Like, it's all super messy and imperfect, and um, I really believe in engaging in the imperfect work, right? Because right
Yeah.
now there's like calls to act and speak and behave perfectly at all times.
Yeah.
And I actually like the framework where we're allowed to mess up and grow from that.
Yeah, I think like the freedom to make mistakes and to like stumble into, challenges in, unraveling really those levels of like what we were raised in, a complete lack of self-awareness about power and privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember when I first, there is freedom in it, like understanding it, because it's like, I don't know, I think it's so disappointing when I think about how long I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Mm.
And then I'm like, the system was designed that way. And it's not to get me off the hook or anything. It's just like, no, that's how it's designed.
Yeah.
And I was telling a story today about some things in American history. And I was like, yeah, you don't know these things, right? I didn't know them either. And, someone was like, well, I knew that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's an outlier, right? And we get in this conversation around really what was critical race theory. It was critical, right? Like, that's what it was, which is like, this is the history we don't know. And, if you don't process through the things you need to process through for self, you're actually going to be useless in a conversation to move people forward, right? And like, I think we see a lot of times in the queer movement, people just wanting to come into spaces and like talk about their experiences and stop there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's hard for us as a community that like bears a lot of trauma to do that broader work without being caught up in our own painful experiences.
Mm-hmm.
To move beyond that point in the conversation to say, okay, no, we've been having this. I mean, this is a frustration of mine, but also I need to give like grace for where everyone's at in their journey.
Yeah.
It's like, if someone's struggling in that moment, like, yeah, I'm going to be frustrated because I'm like, well, I want to talk about strategy, and that might not be where that person is today.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's tough.
It's difficult when you go into a space or a discussion, you don't, like, what are the objectives here? Who's the audience? What are we trying to accomplish? What's the nature of the conversation we're going to be having? And the more people you have in a room, the harder that is to gauge and serve.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, one of the challenges about coalition building is that, right? And like thinking about one of my favorite stories of an early like labor movement in New York, primarily with Puerto Rican sanitation workers, was they created one of the most famous strikes and one of the most famous labor movements that so many other labor movements built off of. But what was so interesting is it was 100% democratic, meaning if there were 80 people in the room, if one person didn't vote for it, it didn't pass. And I'm just like, oh my God, we would never get anything done as a movement.
No, because...
Right? Like, you know what I mean? What is coalition building now look like? And what happened in the 90s with ENDA and everything is the LGBs were like, fuck the tea. We moving on non-discrim, girl. And guess what? We still didn't get it, girl. So fuck off. Right?
Girl.
Girl.
We endanger girl. Oh my God. I just pictured like t-shirts that say fuck the tea, and it's like it's like horrifying and funny at the same time.
Right. And it's just like, we try these things where we cut people and groups out to like move forward, and then like breaking news, it doesn't work,
Yeah. Consensus building is really hard. Like,
yeah.
It's an amazing ideal, but it does feel very aspirational in terms of, I mean, any subset of the queer movement, but the queer movement in general.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have so vastly different perspectives, and also like the stakes are so high right now. I've talked to you about this on the phone, and let me bring all of you into this as well. But sometimes I feel like I have to hold to my calendar without letting one meeting drop, or the movement fails. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Right.
absolutely
Like,
absurd.
trans rights for the nation, trans rights for the nation again, and at noon, trans rights for the nation.
Right, and to be clear, that's not because I think the world revolves around me or because the entire movement rests on me, but it's like I feel this intense scrutiny on our entire
Yeah.
community and myself included, and so it's like, well, if I don't show up for that fireside chat, everyone dies.
But
Oh,
I also think there's an element of like that is the passion for your civic engagement and like what you it also feeds you, right? And I feel like it's this
yeah.
like I can sleep at night knowing I'm doing XYZ. And I'm always like amazed, oh my god, I met this gay guy. Okay, just you between you and me, just those girls. And
The perfect little hair swoop.
and he didn't know what DEI stood for. By the way, he was in Ohio, so just you're sorry about it. So he was like, "Oh, I don't know what DEI is. I've never heard of that."
Mm-hmm.
And this is like recent, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, and his response is like, "Well, I'm just not really into politics." And I was like,
Disappointing, not shocking, but disappointing.
"Well, no, but like to be in 2020, it was like 2023, so it wasn't that recent, but it was. That is recent.
Yeah.
And
it
to
is.
not know what DEI is, and then
Yeah,
like
and be gay while gay.
and be gay. And I'm just like, first
Mary.
of all, you can Google it and then respond to me. Like it was via email. Like, you know what I mean? But also, like, you know what I mean? Like when you think about this, it's like, yeah, the reason you feel this way is partially because there are so many apathetic and indifferent people.
Yeah.
Who wake up and they're like, my gayness is enough. And I'm like,
And also that he doesn't feel that his gayness is political, which is astounding to me.
no.
Especially now. Like,
Right.
transness has been political for a while because people have just started to understand that we exist, right?
Yeah. My condolences, by the way, on people discovering you exist. It's
Yeah.
been really stressful.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I mean, and whatever. I'm not here to talk about how political or when it was political and when it wasn't, but gayness has also always been political.
Yeah.
And it's just, it feels like we're getting back to a place, and it's partly because of the election coming up, but it's also just the political direction that we've been moving in over the last.
Well, I think trans people have become enemy number one because it's easy, and also because trans people are starting to have power. And I think both things are true.
I mean, how could we not? Have you seen this jumpsuit?
No, girl, like yo, it's like I think the second like a marginalized group starts to get political or any sort of power, it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
so
it's a little bit of a reaction
really
to
a
that.
compliment. It's like a pig in a blanket. So.
It's what? How is it like a pig in a blanket?
Like a compliment. It's like a little croissant wrapped in like a little, like they put a little croissant around the hot dog. And the hot dog's gross, but the croissant, anyways.
I don't, but since you brought it up, have you ever had a ham and cheese croissant from Pistachio Vera?
Oh,
Change your life. Change your life.
Oh.
I know you don't eat meat on a regular basis, but when you do.
Okay. Well, everybody knows. I don't know if I've come out on here, but I do go on meatcations. And I get myself a dirty burger from Club 185 in Columbus, Ohio, or the Ruth's Chris in West Palm Beach at the bar. Those are my three spots for burgers. The Club 185 burger is $5, and the Ruth's Chris burger is $20.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's a real range.
Well, the Pistachio Vera croissant is also like, I don't know, $12 or something for a croissant.
No, it is not.
But it's worth it.
Girl, in this economy?
So good. I might be
Oh my god,
exaggerating.
I just realized.
How much could a carton of eggs cost, Michael? $15?
Yes, how much is a banana? I just realized on the back of my Oopsie Poopsie mug is my sticker I got from Deanne Smith on her new tour. Which
Oh, I love that. Let's feature it on the dish cam.
Yeah, so Deanne Smith is actually going to be featured in the Columbus Comedy Festival. They are absolutely amazing. They were just on the
I like that.
Gender Agenda with Hannah Gatsby on Netflix, so definitely check them out. They were awesome.
Mm-hmm. Girl.
and like kind of tell their story of like being a non-binary person and what their journey's been on this special, and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
That sounds lovely, gal.
it is really lovely. Anyways, what are you doing to get free this Pride Month, girl?
What am I doing to get free? I'm getting free from the obligation to do a bunch of stuff. I mean, yeah,
Is
because
this the season of no
I think it might be the beginning of a new season of No.
on the horizon?
It's a really good thumbnail. It's like freedom. Where is it?
Yeah, it looks like I'm saluting.
Yeah, but my calendar has a stranglehold on my life. Like, I just put so many self-imposed, like you have to perform at least once a month, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's taken me over 10 years to get to a place where I'm like, no, I don't. Like I still get to exist, and I still get to be an artist, and a like, I'm still like queer enough, even if I'm not performing. And I know full well that like not all queer people are performers. Like, I know that, but it's how I feel. You know what I mean? About myself.
Yeah.
My queerness has always been wrapped up in performing. I was also like, I mean, I was going to say I was a theater kid in high school, but I was like, Halloween was my favorite time of year as a kid. Playing dress up, I always loved it. And I really like attention. It's a bit of a conundrum.
It's always interesting to see how many shows make you feel queer enough. And the answer is the limit does not exist, right? And
Yeah.
I think it's
a fickle high, because as soon as you do the one show, you want to do another one.
yeah. Oh my God. I remember Shadowbox did this show, and they had significant others of comedians get up and do sets
Oh my God.
for Valentine's Day. And my ex did a set about me.
Oh my
And
God.
honestly,
How did that go?
Really funny. And one of my favorite, I wrote all their jokes, obviously, so I'm complimenting myself. But one of the jokes that they came up with that was so good is like me coming home after a show, and I'm just like, pizza rolls and whiskey, and I tell you how amazing it is, for like an hour, and then I crash.
Oh my God. Oh.
And I felt like so seen and offended, and I was just laughing because that's how our life was when we lived together. Because like we could like debrief together and then pass out on the couch.
Yeah, those are my favorite. I don't know which I liked better, the debrief that night with the the Cane's chicken and the Bob's Burgers, or if it was the morning after with like coffee and eggs.
That was also really good. That was only if one of us got lucky and like we couldn't stay.
That's true. That's true.
And then we have to kick them out and be like, we need to talk.
That's true. Yeah. Now that it's just us, I need to tell you about what happened to me last night.
Oh, it was always a 3-finger combo. What an uncomfortable name.
I was gonna say that also sounds like, applicable to both situations.
If I was a drag queen in Columbus, Ohio, that would be my name.
3-figure combo?
I mean, yeah, it's right there.
Oh my God.
I mean, like.
Oh. I always have these ideas for shows where all of the drag performers have sort of like one-time names around a certain theme, but it's always something. But it's always something really, really niche, like plants. Rosa rugosa.
I think we could use an entire Cane's chicken menu.
One of the drag kings is just cane sauce.
Texas toast.
Oh, Texas toast is perfect.
Isn't it?
Texas toast. I'm actually like hoping that somebody's already done it.
Yeah. Well, like then they get weird. It would be like Dijon on the side. You know what I mean?
Their last name is on the side.
Yeah.
That's great. Girl, what are you doing to get free this Pride season?
Girl, living my damn life.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, I think I'm like forgiving myself for not celebrating the way I thought I had to in my 20s.
Thank you. Let the truth be told.
When I first Pride was New York City Pride with my ex, and we were staying in New York at the time. I was in between opera contracts, and I remember going to New York Pride, and I realize that whole sentence is just ridiculous. But anyway,
No, I loved every second of it.
she was a typical queer, like, coming of age story. She was like over 15 years older than me, which in retrospect, I'm like, she's my age, and I was like 21, and I was like, what was she doing with me? I was a loser, but whatever. Maybe there's a lot to unpack there, but it's just such a queer, when you're in your early 20s, you meet someone who's older and they show you the ropes and they teach you everything, and it's this like queer coming of age, whatever.
And then sometimes, if you're me, you do that 20 more times.
And then you meet someone and are like partnered for over a dozen years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, you know
right.
what I mean?
I don't think I ever got out of the phase of like meeting someone that you could be like a lover and a mentor.
But age gaps are like part of the queer coming of age story. Like, I've never talked to anybody who's like, yeah, I was 22 and I was with a 22-year-old. Like, it just doesn't happen. So, anyway, so it was a much older woman at the time, right? And now that's my age. And she was like, okay, so like the beginning of the parade is like family friendly, right? And the end of the parade is like nipple clamps and nudity. And I was like, just like such a sheltered kid. And I remember being like, I bought a mesh bra, but I wore it under a t-shirt. Like, I just.
So you didn't even feature. You didn't even feature the garment.
No, but I knew I had it on, And, we stayed for the family friendly, and we kind of like went edged, and she was like, you want to go further? And I was like, I'm good right here, but I think back, it's like, maybe that was just me being like, yeah, that's where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, what I mean? Like, and when you're younger, you just are like, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Those nipple clamps look painful. And it's just a different way to experience it. And I'm just like, I do a lot more work around convincing people that like we have the right to exist. So
yeah,
I honor this work all year. I will say this month I get more frustrated at people.
Mm-hmm.
And like when people have been like, happy Pride, I'm like, because I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, vote for a right. I actually was more angry last week, so it's really glad you didn't ask that question last week.
Yeah, I mean, at Pride Month, especially now when things are on fire, is an exercise in patience.
It is. It is.
I mean, especially with the bar is so low, but the ways that especially companies will support queer people in the most like nominal and also like deeply like steeped in respectability politics.
Oh, of course.
Where it's like, oh, it has, we're supporting gay people, but it's only like, this one palatable image of these two attractive gay guys on the insurance ad. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's exhausting. So,
my God.
I think patience is part of the equation for me. In getting free this Pride Month.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm gonna sneeze.
Kazoon tight.
One of like the Target, I was listening to like gay guys rip apart the Target stuff. It's so bad this year, and they're just like just like right on the edge. They don't want to do anything. They have like a t-shirt that just says like, you are valid.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
yeah, it's just being sanitized out of existence. That whole Bud Light sponsorship of Dylan Mulvaney, I slept on that whole thing that happened. I think it was last year.
Yes.
Because I was just like, first of all, I don't know who this person is, and he's not.
You're talking about Bud Light.
Yeah, I don't know who she is, meaning Bud Light. But no, Dylan, she's a trans influencer, but not of great renown. And Bud Light did one customized can for her. And then the whole internet exploded. It got taken and blown up by the media as a whole thing that it surely was not. So partly to blame is the media, but then also Bud Light completely left her out to dry.
Mm-hmm.
Just had the most sanitized response. Completely disavowed any connection with Dylan.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's getting attacked and doxxed and threatened. And it's just like, you know what? It would have been better if you just never sponsored her at all.
So yeah, now they have these like really weird, like sanitized, like low key, like alt-right ads, and they're like, just have a bud with your friends. That's all we're saying. And it's like, fall back down of your values so quickly, and it's like, do you want our money? Then stand with us.
Yeah. And after that, because of the fallout from that, a lot of other companies pulled all of their Pride marketing, which again was not shocking because we knew it wasn't substantial to begin with. It was just to try to get our money. But
well, here's what pisses me off about Target. They did market research and only put their shit out where they know it's safe. And I'm like, that's not who needs to fucking see it.
Right.
I don't need to see it. Like, a queer kid in Iowa needs to see it. A trans kid in Virginia needs to see it. Like, leave it there.
Right.
Actually, I'm in Florida. We do need to see it. But
yes,
you know what
you
I mean?
are.
Like,
you are in Florida.
I'm like, not in fucking Fort Lauderdale, gay capital of the fucking state. Like, we fine. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you have it in these places where it's safe and palatable and all of this shit, and it's like, fuck your market research. Like, stand in it. Stand in whatever truth that is. And by the way, I know it's for the money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Like, we know this is for the profits. No one doesn't think that.
Of course.
That's fine.
Yeah, we all know. We all know this is about the bottom line. But maybe don't, like, actively cause harm. Again, the bar is so low. It's so low. Wow. And if you want, like, this, I can't even finish it. If you want an angry queer focus group, we are both very available.
Let me check my schedule. I'm free.
Yeah. And our fees are very reasonable.
I think we're very reasonable, but you do not get to choose what Eileen wears, but you will regret it because that cat suit is fire.
Yeah. If looks could kill.
Girl, if focus groups could kill, we would. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Covered Dish. I cannot believe it flew by. Get free this Pride season and find your freedom wherever you can. Mm-hmm. This has been an existential episode 135 of Covered Dish.
See you next time. Bye.